Good morning, class. We are still working in Chapter 7. Hopefully, you have really enjoyed Chapter 7. As Miss Ackerman said, she felt it was even easier than Chapter 6. Today, we are on Lesson 7.3 out of your GoMath book. So, if you don't have page 377 and 379 torn out, please go do so. All right, today's lesson is on dividing by 5. Your essential question is, what does dividing by 5 mean? Okay, so we had a day of dividing by 2. We had a day of dividing by 10. Today we're going to divide by 5. Everybody loves to skip count by 5, so I have a feeling that you're going to say, yes, Mrs. Rankin, this lesson's really easy too. So let's get started. Kaylee wants to buy a new cage for Coconut, her guinea pig. She has saved 35 cents. If she saved a nickel each day, for how many days has she been saving? Wait a minute, what does a nickel have to do with this problem? I don't understand. Why? Well, how much is a nickel worth, class? 5 cents. A nickel is worth 5 cents. So dividing by 5, a nickel is going to be something that matters. Other things, let's think, what other things come in 5s? So you have nickels come in 5s. Fingers come in 5s. Toes come in 5s. Gloves come in 5s because they have 5 fingers. Anything else comes in sets of 5? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. Nope, not that I can think of. Let's keep rolling. So, one way we can do it is count up by 5. So begin at 0, count up by 5s until you reach 35. Kind of like if you were counting the nickels out. So you would say 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and we're at 35. So then we would count the number of times that we counted up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I counted up by 5 7 times, which tells me 35 divided by 5 is 7. And if I checked my multiplication on that, I know that 7 times 5 is 35. So that must be correct. So Kaylee has been saving for 7 days. Or we could say 1 week, right? Yep, but it wants to know how many days. So another way, we can use a number line and count backwards. Yes, backwards. So we could start at 35. And because that's the total number she needs to save, count back by 5 because a nickel each day until we get to 0. So I'm starting at 35. I draw my lily pads. I like my lily pads. There's 5. Here's another 5. Here's another 5. Here's another 5. And another 5. And another 5. And one more 5. Boom. Now, how many jumps did we make? Well, we jumped back by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So 35 divided by 5 equals 7. Okay, flip it over. Strategies for multiplying and dividing with 5. You have learned how to use doubles to multiply. Now you will learn how to use doubles to divide by 5. Okay. I'm going to teach you all these different strategies, but because you've already memorized your 5 facts, you probably aren't going to need to use them. If you do, though, you can choose whichever one works best for you. So, use 10 facts and then take half to multiply with 5, because half of 10 is 5, right? Yes. So let's say that I want to solve for 5 times 2. Let's pretend we don't know our 5s and our 2s, but I know all you smarty cakes do. When one factor is 5, you can use a 10 fact. So first multiply by 10. 10 times 2 is 20. After you multiply, take half. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So 5 times 2 is 10. But In order to use this trick, don't you need to know already that 5 times 2 is 10? I'm just saying. Okay, let's keep going. Divide by 10, then double to divide by 5. Okay. 30 divided by 5 equals what? Well, when the divisor is 5 and the dividend is even, you can use a tens fact. So only if this number is even. So 30 divided by 10 is 3. Double this number, 3 plus 3 is 6. So 30 divided by 5 must be 6. Again, you shouldn't need these tricks because you already know your 5's facts. I'm just showing them to you. All right, share and show. Count back on the number line to find 15 divided by 5. Okay. Here's 15. Count back by 5s. So there's 1, 2, 3 jumps of 5. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. Use count up or count back on the number line to solve. 10 divided by 2 equals blank. So if I was going to count up on the number line, I would jump in groups of 2 and see how long it took me to get to my total number of 10. So let me show you that. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If I was going to count back, I would start at the end on 20. I would go back by 5s and then count how many jumps I could do. So 20, 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it, kids. Find the quotient. Remember, this is find the answer. Now, if you didn't have your facts memorized, I would say, oh, well, you need to use counters, draw an array, draw equal groups, do something to work out your problems. But we've already memorized our 5s. So unless you've forgotten one of your facts, we should know all these. 50 divided by 5. Well, what times 5 equals 50? 10. 5 divided by 5 equals, oh, I almost said the answer. Well, I know that any number divided by itself equals 1, but I also know that 1 times 5 equals 5. Either way, it's going to tell me the answer. Do number 6. Go. $45 divided by 5 equals blank. What times 5 equals 45? 9. Okay, grab your next page, 379. All right, friends, here we go. Use count up or count back on a number line to solve. 30 divided by 5. So I'm going to start at 30. I'm going to go back by 5 until I get to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 30 divided by 5 equals 6. 25 divided by 5. Start at 25. I'm going to count back by 5s until I get to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Find the quotient. All right, let's use the multiplication facts that we know to answer these. 20 divided by 5. Okay. Well, what times 5 equals 20, class? 4. Good. 40 divided by 5. What times 5 equals 40? 8. 18 divided by 2. Ooh, halves. Okay, what times 2 equals 18? 9. 0 divided by 5 equals 0. If you start with 0 cookies, you're going to end with 0 cookies, my friends. 35 divided by 5 equals, well, what times 5 equals 35? 7. 10 divided by 5. What times 5 equals 10? 2. 40 divided by 10 equals blank. Well, what times 10 equals 40? 4. I know you're like, man, this is so easy. I love it. I hope you love it. This should be fun. This is when you get to enjoy all the hard work of memorizing your multiplication facts. 4 divided by 2. Well, what times 2 equals 4? Oops. 2. Okay, 30 divided by 10. What times 10 equals 30? 3. 16 divided by 2. What times 2 equals 16? 8. 45 divided by 5. What times 5 equals 45? 9. And 15 divided by 5. What times 5 equals 15? 3. Alrighty, here we go. Let's complete these tables and then we'll talk about patterns. So first let's do our tens row. So it's going to be 10 times, and then these are your factors. So 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 10 times 3 is 30. 10 times 4 is 40. 10 times 5 is 50. Okay. Let's do the next row. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. And 5 times 5 is 25. What pattern do you see? Well, I can see that the quotient for my 5's facts is half of the quotient for my 10's facts with the same factors. Okay? But let's check the division pattern. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 20 divided by 10 is 2. 30 divided by 10 is 3. 40 divided by 10 is 4. And 50 divided by 10 is 5. Okay. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 30 divided by 5 is 6. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And 50 divided by 5 is 10. So, in multiplication, your 5's answer is half of your 10's answer, but in division, your 5's answer or quotient is double that of the 10's quotient. All right, let's do some word problems. Guinea pigs eat hay, pellets, and vegetables. If Wonder Hay comes in a 5-pound bag and costs $15, how much does 1 pound of hay cost? Okay, so $15 is the total cost, and that's for a 5-pound bag. I want to know how much 1 pound costs. Well, what's 15 divided by 5? 3. So that means $3 is how much 1 pound costs. Okay? Number 24. Anna picks 25 apples. Pedro picks 20 apples. Anna and Pedro use the apples to make apple pie. They put 5 apples in each pie. How many apple pies can they make? Okay, well, lots of clue words. So I see division clue words, but I also see an addition clue word here. So Anna picks 25 apples. Pedro picks 20. And together, they put them together to make pie. So 25 plus 20 is 45. Okay. So they have 45 total apples, right? And then they put 5 apples in each pie. So 45 apples divided by 5 apples in each pie equals how many apple pies? Well, what times 5 equals 45? 9. So 9 apple pies. Remember, when you're doing multi-step word problems, you just do each little step at a time. Work one part at a time. The clerk at a store worked 45 hours one week. He worked an equal number of hours each day on Monday through Friday. He worked an extra 5 hours on Saturday. How many hours did he work on each weekday? Okay, so first of all, Saturday is not a weekday, is it? It's a weekend, right? So we need to take Saturday away. He worked 5 hours on Saturday. Take it away. So his total was 45. 5 of that was on the weekend. We don't want to know about the weekend. We want to know about the weekday. So 45 minus 5 is 40. All right. So that means he worked 40 hours during the week, right? And he worked an equal number of hours each day on Monday through Friday. How many days is that, Monday through Friday? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's 5 days. So take these 40 hours and divide them between those 5 days. What times 5 equals 40? 8. So he worked 8 hours each weekday. 8 hours each weekday. All right, friends, head on over to Think Central and complete your 7.3 assignment, and I hope you have fun dividing by 5.